Починається другий тайм матчу між командами після слова подій. Рахунок 22-0 на користь Віталія. Лікар, будь ласка. Починається матч між командами Закарпатської області і Харківської. Суддя матчу Синиця Максим, національна категорія. Групові Віталій, Дубаєв, Олег і Лисенко Володимир.
переривос. Тут нема ніякого магазину? Нема ніякого магазину? То є стензле.
Будеш на базар збігати.
А де трансфер?
Ти кажеш?
А де трансфер? Це.
Тут за звуки.
Це вони туди попадали, тому що
Той був позиція. Генеральний виявитель, а Ларис пішов в машині відкривати, так що вони, напевно, не бачили.
in Ukraine right now. Yes, we are watching the Rugby League, but let's not lose sight of the fact this is a country that is still at war with Russia, and this weekend proceeding under certain provisions from the authorities, with the constant threat of missile and drone attack from the Russians. So they're the bunkers that I'm talking about. But in terms of the technology here, it's pretty earthy stuff, as we would say, like bush football back down under. And of course, it's a big Saturday night in Australia and New Zealand. Well done to the New Zealand Warriors, bouncing back with an emphatic victory over the Brisbane Broncos in the opening match to Super Saturday for round 17. And subsequently, congratulations to the Newcastle Knights, who got the job done against the Cellar Dwellers Parramatta in that match, an incredible match at McDonald Jones Stadium in front of a packed house. But here in Lviv, in Western Ukraine, we're watching this Super League match on what's an abbreviated weekend in an abbreviated season. 13-a-side Rugby League coming back this year after nothing in the last couple of years in terms of that sort of format. I had the privilege of calling Rugby League Nines at this same venue, in fact, almost 12 months ago. But what we are seeing here is the resumption of 13-a-side Rugby League. And there will be a presentation at the conclusion of today's games. 4 teams taking part. The Lviv Tigers is the host club, if you like. And Legion 13 from Kharkiv, they are trailing 4-0 on the scoreboard. I'll come back in a moment to some of the difficulties in getting this underway. And on that note, as we see a touch finder for the Tigers, and a very good one, that gets them out of trouble. They've been camped up that end of the ground for far too long. But for the Legion 13, that's the pin-up team of Ukrainian Rugby League. That's the team that's called on to defend here. They are the hot favourites for this tournament. So this is rather an interesting stage of the whole weekend and the competition itself. And driving defence here from Legion 13, going in reverse. We are in Western Ukraine. Our pictures coming from that part of the world. This is the second weekend of a 2-weekend competition, if you like. Last weekend and this weekend, with matches being condensed over the course
Адамика. Адамика, там. В синьому цьому, в синьому костюмі. Там він і так зараз ходить.
Перекриває.
Well, welcome back to Lviv in Western Ukraine. Into the next passage of play here, and knockback here against the Giants. They lead this match against the Dragons 4-0. Great to have you with us wherever you're watching. Make that picture. The conversion was successful. And as I said just a moment ago, we've had a number of technical problems during the course of the day, or at least I have, in connecting with our pictures through our host broadcaster in Lviv, as we see the Giants get play up towards halfway and beyond. That's an excellent charge going straight up the middle. And the Giants, as I was saying a moment ago, they represent the cities of Rivne and Ivano-Frankivsk, those two cities in Western Ukraine, as we see the team that I'm referring to, the Giants, the West Giants, as they are now rebranded, getting a penalty on halfway and looking to kick for touch. Falling during the course of the afternoon. And if you're wondering about this format, well, 13-a-side rugby league last weekend made its return to Ukraine after a 2-year hiatus, and it's all got to do with the war, obviously. There's been no 13-a-side over the last couple of years, and yours truly had the privilege of calling the last ever Ukrainian Super League Grand Final, and that was between the host city here today, Lviv Tigers, and the great Legion 13 club, which played in the match beforehand against the Tigers, as we see the Giants now looking to extend their lead. They're only about 5 metres out from the goal line. Jason Costigan in commentary here. Our pictures from Lviv in Western Ukraine as they stack the short side, and the Giants going straight up the middle once more, and they cash in. There's their second try, like a hot knife going through butter, and the number 22 for the Giants, he gets the try. Pocotello. Well, he just poked his nose through the line and came through with flying colours, not far from the horns, and they hit double digits. Giants 10-zip over the Dragons. As I was saying a moment ago, before the Russian invasion, I had the great privilege of calling the last ever Ukrainian Super League Grand Final at the Stadium Dynamo in Kharkiv, and I'm led to believe it's since been destroyed by Russian bombs, long ago in fact, about 80-odd years after it was initially destroyed by the clubs in Ukraine, predominantly based on British rugby league teams and now French teams, as we see some paper-thin defence here from the Dragons, and the Giants just eating up the metres, and my goodness, Poyahovic, he just went up the middle as if he had spiders on his back. They couldn't stop him, and then they shifted. The 11 cuts back in field. Vedler, looking deadly, isn't he? They're still going, and they get another one. Great work from the Giants. And the 22, Pocotello, points to the heavens, where you can point to the scoreboard. Great bust. And the defence not able to shut down the ball carrier. And Vedler reaches out. And that's their third try in this contest. Week 2 of this 13-a-side season, an abbreviated season, as we see the return of 13-a-side rugby league in Ukraine. 14 blot kick to come from in front of the grandstand on the far side of the field here in Lviv. These matches, 35-minute halves. And this shot at goal, a difficult assignment here, about 5 metres in from touch. It's on its way. Has it got the legs? They might have been away here, but not to be. We will have a scrum. So just recapping what this is all about this weekend, last Saturday and today, it's a 2-week competition, if you like. There will be a presentation as we see the Transcarpathian Dragons bring the ball away from the scrum. You'd expect them to treasure the footy, given the mountain of defensive work that they have had to endure. Set piece here on the short side, but nobody was scored. Team in blue, the team in possession, trailing by 14 points to nil. The West Giants in the box seat. 3 tries to nil. The Dragons looking to make something of it here. 2 more games to come after this. Transcarpathian Dragons with the ball. We only got these team lists just before the first game got underway, and unfortunately I was tied up with my other commitments at rugbyleague.com. They go for the field goal, the drop goal. Can you believe it, from the Dragons, just to get on the score sheet? Wow. Deadly hairstyle, deadly kick. They're on the board at last. 14 plays 1. Again, our apologies, because the score sheet, or the team sheets, I beg your pardon, only coming through at very much the last minute, and being thrown into the deep end here, not for the first time. But it's all in good fun, and all for a good cause too, because the Ukrainian Rugby League, the fact that they are playing rugby league in a time of war. I had the privilege of calling the Nines, the Rugby League Nines, at this venue, albeit remotely, as we get back underway. This will give some encouragement to the Dragons, the fact that they are no longer with the big fat 0 next to their name on the scoreboard. But I had the great privilege of calling the Rugby League Nines, as we see a mistake here from the Dragons, putting pressure on themselves at this venue last year. And I made the point that the fans, the players, the referees, the match officials, so obviously if there was any concern because of Russian missiles or drones, everybody would be evacuated, and that would be on the back of an alarm sounding, air raid sirens, as we see the Giants spreading the ball, and they'll score in the corner on the back of a mistake, and they make them pay. A costly mistake from the Dragons, and the Giants get their 4th try in this contest. Referee points to the spot in the corner. You can see the flags there. There's a little bit of a breeze here, but they don't need a breeze. The Giants, they're generating their own gale. They're blowing the Dragons off the park. 18-1. And a conversion coming up here again from the sideline or thereabouts. So just recapping the Nines last year, the Rugby League Nines at this venue, it went ahead. There was no incident, as I recall, but the most difficult, challenging circumstances for any rugby league official running a competition, an event during a time of war, as this conflict drags on with Russia. But the game rolls on. That conversion successful, and the referees had enough, and I'm sure the Dragons have had enough. What a scoreline. 35-minute games here, 20 points to 1 as the two teams embrace. We see the replay of the shot at goal. Touch judges, flags up, and that is full time here. Or is it? 20 points to 1, the Giants over the Dragons. 6 games to be played over the course of the afternoon, and a presentation to follow. Hats off to the Transcarp Dragons, the team in blue, for at least getting on the score sheet. Opting for that 1-pointer. It's not something that we see in the rugby league world too often, but in the emerging nations, it's a rather unorthodox approach to rugby league in many ways, and invariably we actually see this happening from time to time. Teams that are down and out on the scoreboard facing the prospect of a whitewash and opting for the one-pointer, opting for the drop goal, as they say in European Rugby League. Well, it looks like that's half-time, I beg your pardon. So we're playing the game. They've allocated 35 minutes for each game, so they must be something like 15-minute halves here. I have no briefing notes, no manual, no rule book in front of me. So it's effectively half-time, a drinks break, call it whatever you like. A very compacted program it is. And you can see the referee there looking at his timepiece. The time is of the essence in many ways here because of wanting to get off and get on to make this this program stay on time. So 20-1. I don't think the Giants are 20-1 to win the tournament. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Accumulative points, 3 points for a victory. And I'll come back to that a little later when I check my notes here as we fly solo. Jason Costigan with you, calling the action from Lviv in west of the war. That's changed everything in more ways than one, needless to say, as we see Dragons travelling across the ground. But the Dragons effectively have the name of the only team from France in the Super League, the Catalan Dragons, but formerly they were the Transcarpathian Trinity, as I recall. The Giants are comprising the team, obviously based on Huddersfield. A big shout out to everybody, the birthplace of rugby league. I was actually in Huddersfield, or Huddersfield, as the locals would say, in October last year when the Tongans were coming through the UK on that historic 3-match tour against England as we get ready for the big international in Toulouse tonight, the one-off tests between France and England. Excellent defence again from the Giants, it must be said. Suffocating. They don't want to let the opposition score a try here. You can tell quite evidently they are looking to turn the enemy away. Yes, that test match, of course, in Toulouse, triple years of French Rugby League. So happy birthday to our friends in the Republic. Felicitations. Congratulations on 9 decades, particularly after what the game went through during the dark days of World War II. I mentioned the Nazi bombing of the Dynamo Stadium, which was the grand final venue that I called from, not literally, but the pictures were coming out of that stadium in Kharkiv back in 2021, about 3 or 4 months before the Russians invaded Ukraine. That stadium bombed by the Nazis during World War II and in more recent times bombed by the Russians. Here come the Giants, 20 points to 1, they lead. And the ball goes loose. I thought there was a knock on there, but the referee says, no, play on. That's a benevolent call for the Giants. Not that they need any charity. They are comfortable leaders here and then some. A juggling act here as we see the Giants spreading the ball. There's an overlap out wide. They've got pace to burn and they cash in once more. And the floodgates have well and truly opened here in Lviv. The Giants get another one. They just couldn't number up the Dragons. Cover defence just couldn't get there in time on the far side of the field, and it's 24 points to 1. That's not a typo if you've just joined us with our graphics people in Western Ukraine. The team in blue, Trinity, Transcarpathian Trinity, opting for a one-pointer in the first half just to get on the scoreboard. 24-1 it is. And a shot at goal coming up here, again, not far from the sideline. So here they go, the Giants looking to extend the margin We'll have a break at the conclusion of this game before the final two matches. Up go the flags. And the number 6 piloting that one between the sticks, Ivan Kihavsky, I believe, is the number 6, the standoff in converting that try. 26 points to 1. That is some hiding in what is a truncated format of rugby league, 13-a-side rugby league. I want to make the point again. We had 9s at this venue late last year. I called that competition, but 13-a-side returning last Saturday and extending through to today. And at the conclusion of these matches this afternoon, there will be a presentation and the awarding of the trophy, which has not been presented, as I understand, since the 2021 Grand Final when Legion 13 put the cleaners through the Lviv Tigers. The Giants spreading the ball, throwing it around with gay abandon, and you can't help but do that under the circumstances when you've got the game in hand. Big cutout pass on that left side. Nice shift here from the Giants, and there's more holes than a tea strainer here for the Dragons. The Giants just cutting through them once more. Here they go. They look hungry for more points, don't they? Oh, what was going on there? A kick, I think it was offside. It was. I think the kick went into the back or the body of a player in front of the kicker. Well, that was comical to say the least. I'm not sure if I've ever seen anything like that on a rugby league field before. A mix-up to that point that the team in possession got stung by the referee, and the penalty is for offside. A little bit being said here by the man on screen. A real mix-up, wasn't it? So play continues here for Transcarpathian Trinity. They've really struggled for penetration. They've struggled for go forward. They've struggled in defence. They've struggled full stop. That pass out the back, well, a fortuitous bounce. They luckily hang on to the ball here. The Dragons, that's come loose. Has to be a penalty or a knock on either way. And it is the latter. And the referee, rightly so, calls a halt to proceedings. There's a problem with the ball. And rain falling before, but that was some clumsy play from the Giants. They'd like to have that rain falling before, but that was some clumsy play from the Giants. They'd like to have that all over again, much to the relief of Transcarpathian Dragons. They will have a scrum here. A big shout out also to all the teenagers that play rugby league in Ukraine. The players that I'm referring to invariably are playing for different clubs this weekend, but the Ukrainian team are off to Serbia next month to play in the Euros. I'm not talking about the round ball, of course. I'm talking about the European Rugby League Under-19 tournament, as we see a penalty to Transcarpathian Dragons, and they will kick for touch here and find the line inside enemy territory. So that Ukrainian side will head off to Belgrade next month. They'll play... well, I'm not sure how many games, because the format, I think, changed from what it was originally envisaged, and that's because of a number of teams pulling out, or at least a couple. No Welsh team, no Irish team. Very disappointing that both nations have been unable to commit to that tournament, but Ukraine has, in the face of adversity, in the face of a war. Something that needs to be noted as we hand out a bouquet to Artem Artasurian and his volunteers in Ukraine, as we see the Dragons go on the attack looking for their first try. We need to also point the finger at a couple of other nations that are failing to send teams to that under-19s competition in Belgrade. That's next month, hosted by Serbia, the European Under-19s. As we see some second phase here, but the referee says, no, you can't pass and keep it going. He's ordered to play the ball here. About 15 out from the goal line, almost bang in front of the sticks. Transcarpathian under a lot of pressure here, looking for their first try, and they're running at the teeth of the Giants' defence. They pop the ball out the back, some second phase here. They're stiffing around the ruck, and they're keeping it going. They seem to think they can profit from these tactics by just popping the ball out the back door. The Dragons on the attack. From the middle of the park, they go wide, and now an uplifting experience for the winger. My goodness, was he beyond the horizontal? No, he gets put down gently. No penalty forthcoming. The marker, though, going early. Should have been penalised. No penalty forthcoming. Now we get a whistle. It was a late call, but I dare say the right call. Not sure about the player taking the tap on the mark. I think he took some liberties there. Now they go the short side. There's nowhere to go. Not a lot of real estate to work with in that corner of the ground. About a metre in from touch. They've got to come back this open side. And they spill the lollies. And all that pressure, all that possession for, well, I was going to say Wakefield Trinity, but Transcarpathian Trinity. Now Transcarpathian Dragons with the rebrand. They come up with a big fat 0. That is disappointing. The Giants' defence holding firm, and they would be chuffed to bits with that, although on this occasion, the commentators curse, they come up with a mistake, trying to bring the ball away from their own end of the ground, and the mistake puts the pressure back on the Giants. They are coasting, nevertheless. Giants, 26, Dragons, 1. Here come the Dragons. All of a sudden, you get the impression they've had a good run of possession here. I think a lot of people would love to see them get across the try. The referee's given a penalty here. So the glut of possession, it continues. And here's the playmaker. I'll try and pick up his number plate in a moment. As I said, we only saw the team lineups, well, not even in full, before this tournament kicked off, or at least today's action. Battle stations here for the Giants. They're on their own goal line. A shocking pass from dummy half. What sort of service was that? You wouldn't get that at the Hotel Hilton. They're only about 5 metres out here from the goal line. The Dragons, from them, have become all too casual, haven't they, since taking this unassailable lead, 26-1, and it's become a mistake-riddled affair here in Lviv in Western Ukraine. Our pictures from the youth stadium, as they say in English, and this was the venue of the Nines that I had the privilege of calling, I think it was early September last year. Now, the Dragons looking to score in the corner. No, over the sideline. So close. A valiant effort from the Dragons, working the short side, but the defence getting across there for the Giants and stopping it. And Poco Tello, I think it was, Demetro in the number 9 jersey, getting across there, Johnny on the spot with a grass cutter. Now from the scrum, a kick across the ground, and it's an absolute shocker. The idea was right, but the execution not so hot. 26-1, and that's all she wrote. Full time here. Couldn't come soon enough for the Dragons. Disappointing they couldn't get on the try-scoring sheet, but they did get on the scoreboard. But in the end, a big win, a landslide victory for the Giants. 26-1 over the Dragons. Great sportsmanship, as you'd expect in this part of the world, and particularly given times of conflict and war. And amazing, isn't it? We are watching 13-a-side rugby league in war-torn Ukraine in a city that, like so many places across the country, that has been bombed and come under missile and drone attack from the Russians for more than 2 years. But Rugby League continues. Rugby League coming back last weekend at 13-a-side level and continuing this afternoon, and it will culminate with a presentation later today here in Lviv. Congratulations to the West Giants, 26-1 over the Transcarpathian Dragons. We'll have a little break here, a chance for me to reassess, maybe put the billy on, make a cup of coffee, and just to recharge the batteries here and check a few notes. 26-1 to the Giants. Congratulations to them. 2 more matches to come here on this final day of this abbreviated season. The match coming up after the break, Legion 13 up against the team that's just won here, the Giants. That should be a ripper. Legion 13, that's the benchmark in this part of the world. They've won everything on offer since the game started in Ukraine and going through to more recent times into the Super League era. And of course, the last game on the schedule is the Dragons, who will be looking to salvage some pride, no doubt. And they have a difficult assignment up against the Lviv Tigers before the presentation. We will take a break as we look at some of the highlights thus far. Stay with us. You're watching Week 2 of the Ukrainian Rugby League season of 2024. Well, welcome back, folks, to our continuing coverage from Lviv here in Western Ukraine on this final day of the 13-a-side Rugby League season of 2024. An abbreviated format, as I've said a number of times during the course of proceedings here today. The season, the 13-a-side season, getting underway last Saturday, and it concludes literally today. Very much a compacted tournament because of the war situation as the two teams enter the playing arena. This game coming up right here and now is between Legion 13 and the West Giants. Legion 13 to the left on your screen, the West Giants to the right. Brothers in arms in more ways than one in Ukraine, given what is happening in the world today. Many of the players that would have loved to have been here, by the way, today, and I dare say last Saturday, unable to participate because of the defence of the nation following the invasion by the Russians more than 2 years ago. And the news, the game returns. An amazing story, the team on the left, the Legion 13, they have, I believe, come across to Lviv on the train. It's something like 12, 14 hours from Kharkiv, their home base, their war-ravaged city, a long way from this part of the country, something like 14 hours, as I say, on a train just to get here to participate. It'll be the West Giants to get us underway, running from right to left on your screen. This is the penultimate match of the tournament. The referee checking his timepiece. The ball is on the tee. Legion 13 to receive, and the Giants get us underway. Great to have you with us, wherever you're watching, tuned in across the Rugby League universe. Jason Costigan calling the action here in Ukraine, not for the first time. And again, our thanks to the Ukrainian Rugby League for this opportunity, to Arta Matasurian and his people, his band of volunteers. Putting it mildly, they need all the help they can get. And they're putting on a great show here. The fact that they're broadcasting these matches in times of war. And a mistake almost here in the opening minutes of this contest. Legion 13 going very close to the sideline. Now going straight up the middle, crossing halfway. And they're off to the races. And they're not going to stop this nippy number 9. I think it's the number 9. We'll check the number plate. It is a runaway try. And Puchkov just punched a hole through the middle and went all the way. Brilliant, just brilliant from the number 9. Legion 13 play from in front. They lead 4-0 with a kick coming up, an absolute sitter. And the man who scored the try will look to convert the try. Well, the Giants back on their heels. They've had a bit of a break after thrashing the Dragons, and Puchkov raises the flags from close range, and Legion 13, the team that set the benchmark since the game was introduced to Ukraine, playing from in front, marshmallow defence, and this number 9 needed no invitation. Harry Grant's, I believe, just finished his work with the Melbourne Storm after Melbourne dealt with Canberra at Amy Park. Perhaps someone might bring it to his attention. And that latest defeat, a 32-16 loss to the Warriors in Auckland. Great bounce back from the boys from the City of Sales. We see Legion spreading the ball again towards our camera position here in Lviv. And the other match, of course, in Newcastle. Newcastle Knights, too good for Parramatta, kicking clear to win 34-26. As we see bombs away from Legion 13. Oh, and calamity at the back here for the Giants. And what's he ruled here? It's still... In fact, the Giants have got it. Just for a second, I thought Legion 13 had got the ball somehow, but the Giants, miraculously, through good luck, not good management, they have got it. And they should treasure the ball as they bring it away from their own sticks. That's a good carry running at the middle third of the Legion 13 defence. The Giants now looking to shift it. Early setback for the Giants after that big win it was over Transcarpathian Dragons. Now they shift it down the blind side. There's no real estate to work with there. That's just silly play. I thought there was a little knock on there, and there was. The match officials did not miss it. And it looked very ordinary, didn't it, from the Giants, and it breaks down. That's disappointing play for them. And the Legion 13 now in good field position to mount another attacking raid. One of the players, in fact, the player to watch in this Legion 13 side, if there is one player, it's the man in the number 6 jersey, Alexander Skorbach. Keep an eye out for him. He's the captain coach. 37 years of age, as I recall. He's the Daly Cherry Evans, I beg your pardon, of the Ukrainian Rugby League. As we see a spread here from Legion 13. They're going to score out wide from the scrum. Can you believe it? Second try of the afternoon in this contest for Legion 13. Sideline to sideline, 16 on 16. And in the corner, Legion 13 get their second try. Difficult conditions, I've got to say here, calling this game. They're in a, I wouldn't even call it a temporary studio where we are, but doing a favour for the Ukrainian Rugby League, and had some technical problems earlier today in connecting to our host broadcaster. But we're up and running here at this stadium, the youth stadium, as they call it in English. The kick is on its way, and the kick is just waved away. Not a bad effort, though, from way out. And it remains 10-0. Legion 13, 10. West Giants, no score. The Giants coming off a 26-1 shellacking of Transcarpathian Dragons. But clearly this is a step up in class up against this Legion 13 combination, which, as I say, has won every trophy on offer since Rugby League was introduced to Ukraine. The restart taken clearly on the full by the man who's the magic man in Ukraine, Skorbach, the man in the number 6 jumper. And as I said, I was comparing him to Daly Cherry Evans, the great DCE, who will be looking to redeem himself in that third and deciding State of Origin match at the Cauldron at Suncorp Stadium on July 17. After what happened at the iconic Melbourne Cricket Ground on Wednesday night in front of an incredible crowd, the second biggest crowd for Origin of all time, as we see some second phase from Legion 13, and in the thick of it, Puchkov. He's been dynamite, hasn't he, the number 9? He's been by far and away the best player on the field in this particular game. Legion 13 showing plenty of cohesion as they spread the ball, and there's a number of holes, isn't there, in this defensive line for the Giants. They're looking a little bit ragged all of a sudden as we see Legion 13 going through them once more. Anxious moments here for the Giants. The men from Huckov on the attack, looking rampant as they spread the ball once more, and they'll score in the corner. It's the 16. He gets a double. Well, he is having an half out in Lviv. The number 16 for Legion 13 in Zazimko. David Zazimko cashes in and makes it 14-zip. Legion 13 coasting here against the West Giants. Shot at goal coming up for the team that everyone believes will lift the trophy. Just about anybody. Anyway, I suspect there'd be a lot of people in Lviv who would beg to differ, but Legion 13 from Huckov, that kick is waved away, so no change to the scoreboard. Legion 13 points to nil. Shot at goal was taken by Voitov. Voldemir. Voitov unable to add the extras. 3 tries to nil. Comprehensive performance so far in this game by Legion 13. As I said earlier, they, as I understand, came to Lviv in the west of the country by train, something like 14 hours. And as one of my dear Ukrainian Australian friends said to me this afternoon, they haven't stopped living their lives. Not just the rugby league community, but the wider community. And I'm sure I speak for everybody as we see a quick restart, a shock restart. And my goodness, well, the idea was terrific, but I'm not sure if they got the ball. Was there a knock-on against the Giants? No, say the match officials. I'm sure there was a knock-on. Maybe that's a bit of karma. Tactic there from the Giants to try and get their hands on the ball after conceding 3 tries, but on the next play it backfires and they turn it over here, much to the relief of Legion 13. As I was saying, my one of my friends, Australian Ukrainian friends, making the point that they haven't stopped living their lives in spite of the trials and tribulations and the terrible atrocities and tragedies that have been unfolding in this country since the Russians invaded more than 2 years ago. And that invasion happening just a couple of months, I think 3 months after I called a match between Ukraine and Russia, as we see Legion 13 again going straight through, now into the backfield, looking for try number 4. The competition hotshots. Skorbach moves into dummy half. They're at 6s and 7s here. The Giants, they've got to crack them surely, and they do. Paper-thin defence, and they get try number 4. Skorbach directing traffic from dummy half, and the number 23 just going through them. And Haiduchenko is the man adding his name to the scorers list. Kostiten Haiduchenko getting across the stripe. 18-zip. Our graphics department perhaps suffering a bit of fatigue. You can't blame them. I'm sure that'll tick over in a moment. With the shot at goal coming up, a change in kickers, and Puchkov puts this one between the sticks, and up go the flags, and they hit 20. Legion 13 in command against the West Giants. 20 to blot here in Lviv. Another short restart here from the Giants, and this time the Legion 13ers awake, and they almost come through the other side. On the far side of the field, it's Voitov, I believe, rises to play the ball just inside the touchline. And this first up contact, so important here for the Giants. This is where they need to aim up, and this is much better, repelling the Legion 13 ball carrier. But too much in the tackle, I believe. Referee saying that's overzealous. You can't do that. He wanted to play the ball, and a quick play of the ball was not forthcoming. Hence, we've got the penalty. If you missed what I said earlier in one of the matches on the other side of the break, the players' rest, if you like, the adjournment, call it whatever you want, I made the point that Ukraine will be sending an under-19 side to Belgrade, to the Serbian capital next month to take part in the Euros. Now, I'm not talking about the round ball Euros. I'm talking about our version of that, the Rugby League equivalent. And we have an under-19 tournament under the banner of the European Rugby League, as we see a mistake on play one here from Legion 13, and I'm sure Scorbutch and co won't be happy with that on play one coming up with a fumble. But that European under-19 tournament taking place in Belgrade, it's a real learning curve, I'm sure, for a lot of these youngsters that are coming in from places such as Ukraine. Ukraine, despite being at war, remarkably sending a team to Serbia to play in this Euro under-19 tournament, and we wish them well. I'm sure everybody in the rugby league community is astounded that that's even happening. I'm not sure how much press coverage it's got, whether it's mainstream rugby league in the UK or down under, or even local media coverage in Ukraine, given that the focus is, of course, no doubt on the struggle to repel the enemy as the war continues. But in terms of rugby league, that's an amazing story that this nation is going to send its under-19 side to the Euros in Belgrade. And we wish them well and every success, these youngsters that are heading off, no doubt, for a great adventure. I'm sure some of them, it'll be the trip of a lifetime, something that perhaps they didn't think was possible when all hell broke loose when the Russians invaded 2 years ago. And what has happened since is we see a kick downtown, and look at the kick return. He brings it back, the number 3 for Legion 13, eating up the meters. Oh my goodness, Davidov just carving up right up the middle. And look at this, they're on the front foot. The kick downtown was okay, but the chase was an absolute shocker, and he just cut them to ribbons. 20 points to 0. And you get the impression, here they go once more. They're on the ropes here, the Giants, and not for the first time. The referee telling them to get back on side. Good luck to the man in the middle. And here's Scorbutch looking to set it up on this right side once more. They've profited by going that way a number of times. On their own goal line here, the Giants. Scorbutch at dummy half, wearing the 6 jumper, but going himself, passing over the top and setting it up once more. He is the architect, Scorbutch. And the try has been given. Here he goes, the number 6. Looking to do a Gene Miles just for a second, I thought, going over the top. And he provides a nice ball to Shapovalov. Serhii Shapovalov dots down and makes it 24 blot. I mentioned before about the Ukrainians and Scorbutch. Just before the Russians invaded, he took his team to the European D Championships, or B, sorry, I beg your pardon, the Euro B Championships, involved 3 countries, the host nation Serbia, Russia, who hadn't played international footy for quite some time, and Ukraine. And for the first time, Ukraine beat Russia. That was only a couple of months, as I recall, before the Russian forces invaded. The shot at goal is on the money. Puchkov converts, and Scorbutch, the man who led Ukraine to that famous win over Russia, has steered his side to an incredible position here against West Giants. At the break, they lead comfortably and then some. 26-0 as we look at some of the first half highlights. And it's just been a procession. this was one of the players of the game, if not the player of the game. Puchkov just showing it, and then he said, see you later, scooting away, and they couldn't catch him. Teasing the defence and getting it down adjacent to the sticks. This man got a double in that first stanza. Zazimko. Nippy customer out wide. Desky. He's the man in possession here, playing his part. Back underway into the second half action unfolding here. Jason Costigan in commentary. Now pictures from Western Ukraine, from the youth stadium in Lviv. Great to have you with us. No need to buckle up. You can sit forward if you want on the sofa because it's one-way traffic here. We've got a touch judge providing a report here to the match official who's in charge. I'm not sure what happened there. There's a little bit being said here. Have a look at this. Not sure if that's a bit of friendly banter or what it is, but I don't think the referee and touch judge are exchanging recipes. Unfortunately, our match officials aren't mic'd up, so we've got no idea what's going on there, but we're going to have a scrum on the back of all that. Not sure if we're going to see a replay of what happened that sparked that discussion between the two officials, but nevertheless, a scrum forming, and it will be the Giants who'll have the put in. And hello, you come this way. Well, I'll go that way. Almost used his entire forward pack as a shepherd. And look at this. Well, I think there's some justice in that because the man who's been bundled over the sideline looking at the touch judge, he's only got himself to blame. He needed to treat the sideline like a precipice, and he ran there as if he was looking for a pie from the kiosk. So we've got a false start here. So it's been a sloppy start to this second stanza. No fluency for either side. A stop-start affair is putting it mildly. So just coming back to that European Under-19 tournament, I just want to wish the European Rugby League all the best with it because it's been a difficult tournament to put together with teams like Wales and Ireland not coming, as I think most people expected early on. They are a no-show, Wales and Ireland, but Ukraine is among the nations taking part next month as we see the Legion 13 side going in once more, and they get their first try of the second stanza. Davidov, he evades the defence and helps himself to 4 points. Puchkov has it on the tee. 5 in from touch, and it's a shocker. He kicks it over the high fence. Good luck to the ball boy who has to retrieve that football. I used to do that work myself. I know how difficult it can be. In fact, where I used to do it, the ball would go into a drain, which I won't even try to describe what was in the water because you might be having a late afternoon snack somewhere across Europe or a late night snack down under. The water was disgusting, to say the least. It's my job to out as we see a knock on by the Legion 13, and we're going to have a scrum on the back of that. I'm sure Scorbatch would be disappointed. They come up with points and then they back it up with a silly mistake like that. 30-0, a big scoreline indeed. And an invitation here for the Giants to salvage something out of this wreckage. Their final match of the tournament. This the penultimate game of the tournament. 26-0 it was at the break. And just putting it into perspective, the team that's feeding the scrum, they won the previous game 26-1, now trailing by 30. Here they go looking for that try, a consolation try. They get there and they're on the board. The West Giants, they get that try. So for everybody in Rivne and Ivano Frankivsk, they'll be pleased that their team is at least on the board. 30 plays 4, a kick coming up here for the West Giants. The next game and the final game, in fact, of the competition, featuring the Transcarpathian Dragons up against the host city, the host club Lviv Tigers. And following that, we'll have a presentation and we'll have coverage of that presentation before we bid you farewell from Lviv here in Western Ukraine. Great to have you with us. Jason Costigan calling the action around the world. And again, our thanks to Arta Matasurian and the team from the Ukrainian Rugby League for the opportunity. The kick for goal is waved away. And so it remains 30 points to 4. Legion 13, 26-point leaders against the West Giants. I don't have an updated competition table or points ladder, if you're wondering, but going into this weekend, I know for a fact that Legion 13 last week went bang, bang, bang. They got maximum points across the board, finishing the table or finishing the weekend with 9 points. Then the Lviv Tigers on 7, the Giants 5, and the Dragons 3. That's how they finished coming into this weekend, if you like. And that's a good example, a nice illustration, if you like, in my opinion, and it is an opinion, but the marker probably going early there as the referee checks his timepiece, the marker probably going a little too early and getting away with it and causing the breakdown in play. And I'm sure it's a work in progress in terms of educating the match officials, and it's certainly a work in progress in educating the coaches, and I'll touch on that before we finish up today. And here's the second try in this second half, and going through, helping himself, the number 3 for Legion 13, slicing through Davidov once more, wreaking havoc. Nice inside ball and a little bit of footwork, and he was just too good. How easy, he thinks. The crackerjack out of dummy half. His raids have tormented the opposition, I dare say, all day, not just in this game against the hapless Giants. And I say that with the greatest respect because they have come up against a hot team in this second last game of the tournament. Back underway into the next passage of play. 36 plays 4. That is an impressive scoreline, remembering we're playing 30-minute halves or 30-minute games, I beg your pardon here. It's very much a compacted program to fit everything in. And in case you're wondering, I said it during the Rugby League Nines at this venue, or with our pictures coming from this venue last season, if play stops and everyone leaves the field, as we see Legion 13 making big inroads once more, if everybody leaves the field, you know that's trouble for the citizens of Lviv, because there will be practices or procedures in place for everyone to leave, to evacuate, to seek shelter in case of bombs falling or missiles and so forth. And here he goes once more, and he is hot to trot, the number 3. They can't stop him. He is absolutely electric. Davidov. My goodness, give him the pill, he'll do the rest. Scorbutch going to his number 3. Nice little bit of swerve, and look at him go. Through the gears, and again teasing the defence at the death. And they hit 40. Warm conditions, as you see the trainer there handing some refreshment to Puchkov, the number 9, who's got a sitter here from bang in front once more. This to make it 42-4, and he's done it. We must be almost out of time here. As we look at the replay, he didn't take the ball back far, did he? Over the crossbar, that's all you need to do. And as I say, the number 9, the picture there tells the story. He is, for mine, from what I've seen of the tournament, and I have not seen, I didn't see any footy last weekend in Ukraine, and we jumped on the bandwagon a little later than normal today, or certainly what I expected because of some technical issues and because of my other commitments to rugbyleague.com. As we see another kickoff for the West Giants. They must be sick and tired of these kickoffs. And just coming back to that, rugbyleague.com, it's a new venture, an exciting venture, a 24/7 online radio station. Check it out, rugbyleague.com. News at the top of the hour, and I dare say in the coming hours you may hear a little bit about what's been happening here in Lviv in western Ukraine as we see Legion 13 hungry for points. Surely they can't crack 50. Surely full time will be upon us sooner than later. They're 8 points from that half-century mark, but you get the impression they are going in for the kill. Showing no mercy here, Legion 13. Looking for a record score, I suspect, in this particular campaign of 2024. And they're not far away. They've come from one end of the field to the other. And I'll give you a tip. They're not going to be looking for a one-pointer here. They want 4, if not 6. Although, right on cue, Scorbutch says, let's go for 1. Some icing on the cake. That's a cherry on top. Save me a slice of the cake. But they missed it. Can you believe it? He can kick those one-pointers in his sleep. And just the way that they were building, I thought they were looking to try and give 50 a nudge. But he went for 1, and he came up with 0. Scorbutch, I'll have to send him a message after the game, and I'm sure he'll be laughing. Because, as I say, he would normally be able to slot them in his sleep. The Daily Cherry Evans of Ukrainian Rugby League, as I mentioned in the first half, 37 years of age, if memory serves me right. And out of them, the Giants' defence, the Badov has been amazing in that number 3 jumper. They're on their own line here, the Giants. And look at this, as easy as you like. Another try. The referee's going to point to the spot. Another 4 points. It's happy days here for Legion 13. Going into dummy half, the number 18. The Marcus, well, they weren't asleep. They were in an absolute coma. I think the West Giants, they clocked off long ago. But if there's a pharmacy nearby, they should pop in and pick up some no-dos. Desky helps himself to 4 points, and it's 46-4. And a very simple kick coming up now once again for Puchkov. They're a shandy off half a century. Hot performance from Legion 13. He raises the flags. Surely it must be full time. And I suspect it sure is. The players shake hands. The referee says, that's enough. No mercy rule in Ukrainian Rugby League. Unfortunately for the West Giants, they were lucky to dodge 50 in the end. Hot to trot, Legion 13. Massive win, 48-4. Legion 13 runaway victors over the West Giants here in Lviv. Congratulations to Michael Skorbach, or Alexander Skorbach, I beg your pardon, and his men. Really very much a complete performance. There was a shaky start to that second stanza, it must be said. There was some sloppy play from both teams, and it wouldn't have been pleasing for Skorbach and the leadership group, the senior players for the Legion 13 combination. But they soon got out of that rut and put their foot to the floor. They led 26-0 at the break. They conceded just the one try. I don't think they'll be happy about that, but nevertheless, they win by 44 points. Remembering these games are only, half an hour. A compacted program as the team comes together for a post-match photograph to celebrate the occasion. You can see the Super League trophy there, just below the balcony. That is the Ukrainian Super League trophy, the silverware that is on offer, that is up for grabs here today. As we see some of the highlights of this match, a mismatch. And that nippy number 9, as I call him, Vitaly Puchkov, show and go, put the foot to the floor, and they couldn't stop him. He just had a little look in the rear vision mirror, and just for a split second, he might have been a bit concerned. This is Zazimko, David Zazimko, multiple try scorer, getting some quality ball on the end of that backline move and planting the pill over the whitewash. This is Desky, Alexander Desky, being pulled to ground, 10 out from the goal line. They're at 6s and 7s. And again, a shift to the corner. And Zazimko helped himself once more. Skorbach at dummy half, wearing 6, but distributing the ball. Some nice interchange here. The defense non-existent, really. And Haiduchenko, he joined the parade. Unselfishly setting it up for Shapoval, the number 19, getting his name on the score sheet. Look at the smiles on those faces. Why wouldn't you be smiling? It was a cakewalk. And here he goes once more. His work off the tee, very nice indeed. And looks like we've got a presentation on now. I'm not sure whether we've bailed out on the last game, but let's try and listen in to see what's happening here in Lviv. So it looks like the final game of the tournament is not being played, or at least the team or the game that was on the program, the final match of the tournament. Just trying to ascertain what's actually happening here, but the presentation is well and truly underway by the Ukrainian Rugby League officials. Someone from the dark side there, from the other code, looking at that shirt. We won't hold that too much against him because, of course, most of these players, in fact, all of these players, I suspect, have played both codes of rugby before settling on rugby league. So this presentation continuing. I'm just waiting for some information here from the officials on the ground to confirm what's actually going on here. Presentation of medals to players from more than one team, obviously. And I did miss the start of the day's play, and apologies for that again. It was because of technical constraints or issues, certainly from my point of view, not from what was happening on the ground with our pictures and our cameras. And our thanks to our production team and our camera operators, to Vitaly and the team, our host broadcast team, our gratitude and thanks for your efforts, not just today, of course, but going back previously and certainly last Saturday with the return of 13-a-side rugby league here in Ukraine. Well, this tells me plenty because the trophy is staying in Kharkiv. Legion 13 hold the silverware once more. They're Skorbach lifting the trophy once more. His DNA and fingerprints all over that piece of silverware. And they do it again. And they've done it in style. Tremendous victory for Legion 13, lifting the trophy a long way from home. On that train, coming from one side of the country to the other. And it's been all worth their while. I hope they've got a spare seat on the train for the trophy. It's a nice piece of silverware, isn't it? Happy days for Legion 13. They continue their domination of the game in this part of the world. They actually used to have Roman numerals on the back of their jerseys when I first started calling them. That's obviously changed. They've changed sponsors as well, and players, no doubt. But one thing that hasn't changed is their ability to set the standard in Ukrainian Super League. Congratulations to Alexander Skorbach and Legion 13. Well, as part of the presentation, we should point out now, I think, that the Ukrainian Rugby League community coming together to remember the fallen as this conflict, this war continues with Russia. Let's just pause now to remember those who are sadly no longer with us. Well, happy days it is, certainly for Legion 13, but it'd be remiss of me not to make the point here as we saw the post-match presentation of the trophy and also the respect of those who've lost their lives in the war, to spare a thought for the family of a former player of the Legion 13 and the Ukrainian Rugby League community. And, of course, I'm referring to Volodymyr Mashkin, his family, Volodymyr's wife and darling daughter, both being killed by Russian missile going back less than 6 months ago. In fact, in late January it was, and a shocking situation for anyone, but very much a story that has reverberated around the rugby league world, not just in Ukraine, but it was a story that was picked up in the UK and certainly down under. And of course, as I say, I'm referring to Volodymyr Mashkin losing his wife and little girl as the war came to their neighbourhood. Terrible tragedy and lost on people watching our broadcast as we wrap up our